morning, everyone. Welcome to our February 17th Board of Supervisors meeting. Appreciate each one being here. We have a room full, so if you would just take a second and please put your phone on silent. Would be appreciated. And as always, appreciate each one being here. We'll start off with a word of prayer by our Brother Manning, and Will Sly will lead us in the pledge. So if you would, please, everyone stand for the prayer.
Oh, Heavenly Father, as always, we honor and we praise. We thank you for this day, this opportunity to be blessed by you. We understand that today is a gift, and so I ask that you allow us to use it to do your will and to serve your purpose. God, we ask that your will be done, nothing more, nothing less. That's enough. So we ask that you cover everything that takes place in this place and that you cover your people. It's in your Son's name that we ask, and for his sake we say amen.
Amen. Amen. Will?
Yes, sir. Attention, salute, pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Lott?
Yes, Mr. President, should have before you the February the 2nd board minutes. I would ask if there are no changes, the board please approve said minutes.
Are there any changes the board member would like to make? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks, do I have a second? Second. Second Supervisor Baxter, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
At this point, we're gonna change up the, meeting schedule just a little, but I would like to go to consent items, if anyone, to kind of get those out of the way. But do I have anyone like to take, anything off the consent items? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
Move.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks, do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Baxter, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Now, I would like to move back up and, take the public hearing first, if we could. So, it has on here with, Scott Weeks, Planning and Zoning. Scott, Andy, would you like to come up and just, give us just a brief overview of what we are, gonna hear on the public hearing, or hear for?
Yes, this is on the Makita appeal hearing on the rezoning and variance. It's located on Calhoun Station Parkway and Nissan Parkway, Highway 22, Old Jackson Road, Supervisor District 5. This was heard before.
That's District 4.
District 4. This was heard before the Planning Commission, and it was denied, and they appealed that decision. So they're here to speak on it.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. And, first of all, do I have a motion to go in the public hearing?
Move.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks, I'll second it, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, we are now in the public hearing. And one kind of set a little guidelines. We'd like to give each side 15 minutes to let the board know what they would like for us to know. And then 5 minutes, rebuttal, if you'd like to do a rebuttal. And you can use those 20 minutes any way you like, with as 2 or 3 people to use those 20 minutes would be fine as well. But that's what we'd like to. But also, after that, we will give each and every one a couple minutes to come up and just address the board if they think they need to after the two makes their statements, the 15 or 20 minutes. But that will be limited to no more than 2 minutes, rather for it to be less than that. So that is the structure that we will have this public hearing. So at the beginning with Makita, if you would, just come up and give your name and state who you're with and address.
Supervisor Steen, I'm Skip Jernigan, and I'm the attorney for Makita, for the board and for Makita. We're here today, as you know, on an appeal from the Planning and Zoning Commission's denial of our request to rezone what we call the Jubilee property, which Scott just described, which is approximately 350 acres adjacent to Highway 22 on the north, Nissan Parkway on the east, and Calhoun Station Parkway on the west. As everybody is aware, this is the second time we have been here. The first time you sent us back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for further development of the facts and potentially for a meeting with the objectors. Can report that we had a long meeting with the objectors. Mr. Deason, myself, and the engineers met with all of the objectors at the Makita office for almost 2 hours. Unfortunately, we did not get close to a resolution of this matter. I know this board has handled many zoning matters, and you know the legal requirements to obtain the rezoning of a piece of property not only in this county, but in this state. They are that there was a mistake in the original zoning, which is not the case here because this property's been zoned the same for the last 60 years, ever since Madison County adopted a zoning ordinance. So it goes to whether or not there was a change in the character of the area or the neighborhood. And the second requirement is a public need for additional land to be zoned, in this instance, I-2. What has made this such an incredible site for Makita to want to get rezoned is its proximity right across Highway 22 from what the county and what you gentlemen are aware of is called the mega site. It doesn't take much to understand that, and you know what's going on out there. And this board was part and parcel of the reason that that development has been so successful. And we asked that that property be rezoned I-2, and it was granted by this board. And not only that, this board participated in allowing Makita funds and other opportunities to prepare that ground in such a manner to have infrastructure available to invite an incredible economic development in the form of the AWS data centers, the Clark Beverage Building, the Amazon Distribution Center, where you can call Amazon, order something, and they're right there in our neighborhood, and they bring it to you the same day now sometimes. And what made that so attractive to all of those people was the fact that we worked together to provide what economic developers call shovel-ready ground. In other words, they can come in and they don't have to do anything. Infrastructure's available, services are available, and they can come in and start building. Currently, as you all know, the mega site is completely occupied. It constitutes some 1,500 acres over there, and it's completely full. Because the mega site is completely full, the people of our county are going to enjoy the benefits of those developments in the form of very large tax dollar revenues coming into this county as a result for years and years and years in the future. And that would include the Kenton School District and the city of Ridgeland. Now, let's talk about initially the change in the character of the neighborhood or the area. The objectors live near this property, adjacent to it in part. And for a long time, folks, they have enjoyed living in a quiet rural part of Madison County. And a lot of the objectors' families and residents have lived there for quite some time. But what has happened is that this area has changed around them, and they no longer live in a quiet rural area in Madison County. Now, the law allows each one of you guys to use their own personal knowledge about what has happened as it affects this rezoning application and these objectors. And all of you, and I don't have to go into all of it, are aware of the significant change that has occurred in this area. You can all see that for yourself. But just to name a few, obviously the mega site, Nissan Parkway itself and all of the development it is attracting, hospitals, nursing homes. There's a huge convenience store right on the corner near this property. And all of the things that are coming in that direction. But what is more telling is that Mr. Steen, may I approach the board?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Gentlemen, what is more telling is that I just handed you an aerial photo of the property to be rezoned. It identifies where the objectors live, and it identifies two parcels of property right across the road from where these fine people reside. Both of those parcels, within the last 18 months, have been rezoned by this board without objection. One is I-2 and one is C1, and it's noted on there. They're directly across the road from these houses where these folks live. What I'd like to know, if the board were to inquire, as to why there was no objection to those zoning requests. I don't have to go into the rest of the information, folks, about all of the changes that have occurred, and they continue to occur. Now, the objectors also have submitted that there is no public need for additional I-2 land in that part of the county. And they submitted a position paper, apparently a new one this morning, which I don't have a copy of, but they submitted one at the January 4th meeting. And I'd like to refer to that, if I may, for the record. On the second page, first sentence of the second paragraph, they state, over several decades, Madison County's demographics and economic trends have drastically changed, and portions of Madison County have experienced tremendous economic growth. And that is what we're about here today. This portion of Madison County has drastically changed, and the objectors admit that. We were not able to seek any resolution with them. We offered buffers, berms, a 225-foot buffer, and if the board were to rezone this property, that's going to stay the same. We're going to provide covenants that incorporate that and protect these property owners as much as possible. This position paper that they submitted has a bunch of, it's pretty good actually when as a restatement of what the law is. It looks like it came right out of ChatGPT or something like that, but it's pretty good. And it sets forth a number of abstract conclusions about what the law is about rezoning. And that's fine, and I can go through them with you, but you've seen this. But what it does not set forth in support of any of those abstract conclusions of law and statements about this rezoning process is any evidence to support any of that. For example, overdevelopment and overburdened infrastructure when developers seek exceptions. They have no evidence that any of that is about to take place or will ever take place. Wastewater and sewer infrastructure, and they go into a long dissertation about that, but there's no evidence that any of the wastewater or sewer infrastructure will be affected by this rezoning. They talk about waste in the city of Canton's landfill, but there's no evidence that there will be any waste or what it might be and how it might affect the landfill. Environmental justice is another argument. They have no evidence whatsoever to support that claim. They just set forth that it could be an issue down the road. They talk about loss of local tax revenue. The taxes on this piece of property are just a few $100s a year. Any industrial development, as this board is certainly aware, would bring in significant revenues to this county. They talk about housing problems, but there's no evidence that this would create any housing problems. They talk about public safety, fire, and that type issue, but they submit no evidence to support those claims. Traffic management, land use availability, and then finally they talk about public need and land use, other land in the county that's already zoned I-2. And they list those properties, and you've heard this before. And you also heard Mr. Deason tell you that Makita has looked at each one of these properties. They're north of the mega site, some on Verlilia Road, some up Old Yazoo Road, and we've looked at all of these. And they're just not suitable parcels for what Makita needs as far as economic development. One of them, I think Mr. Deason told you, wanted $10 a square foot for his property. That would not be prudent business if Makita were to enter into some crazy deal like that. And the rest of them are just not completely usable pieces of property. They have wetlands and they have other problems. This is the best location for future economic development in our county. It's got access, the Nissan Parkway gives you access to I-55. It's got access directly to Highway 22 that gives you direct access to I-55. We have met, gentlemen, all of the legal requirements for rezoning. All of those issues that I just talked about would be issues that the objectors could raise if and when an industrial or manufacturing assembly facility, a cookie factory we talked about, if any of those come to that site and propose to build a building, all of those issues would be matters that the proposed construction would have to deal with and satisfy the county to get a building permit. Those are building permit issues related to that. Those are not zoning issues. They're two zoning issues. change in circumstances and public need for this property. We have met both of those burdens, gentlemen, and this property needs to be rezoned I-2. Thank you.
Thank you,
I got a question for you.
I have Mr. Deason here if you have any further questions.
we have Supervisor Baxter would like to have a question.
Yes, sir.
What all does I-2 allow to be built?
It actually, the way, and I may let Scott or Andy answer this, the way I-2 is structured, anything other than residential is allowed to be built in an I-2 area. Commercial, we don't have anything up below I-2 other than C1. This would actually, Mr. Baxter, be a part of what we call a technical industrial park area. We don't anticipate any manufacturing as such for this piece of property.
Okay. And the 225-foot tree buffer, will the whole circumference of the property, just the driveway will not be?
Pardon me?
The 225-foot tree buffer will be the entirety of the whole property?
As it adjoins the objector's property, yes. You gotta remember, on the west side, the board has already approved the redoing and repaving and widening of Calhoun Station Parkway, which will go from 22 almost all the way down to Sowell Road on the west side of the objector's properties. That in and of itself, Mr. Baxter, is such a significant change in this area that would allow the rezoning of this property. It's gonna change this area for sure. It's gonna create two significant high-traffic corners there on I-22, and the development's gonna come. It's coming.
Okay. Thank you, Counselor.
Yes, sir.
Counselor, do you have someone else at
No,
this point that you're through with that?
We do, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Brother Manning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for your time. Why are we here today?
Brother Manny, can I get your full name?
DeVario Manning, 115 Hill Road, Canton, Mississippi. Why are we here? This is a process. I'll be honest with you, I'm tired. We've been going through this process since November 3rd. We're here today because you as county supervisors chose individuals to represent each of your districts to do a job, to adhere to responsibilities, and to adhere to the ordinance and the standard operations procedures that the county has set in place when it comes to zoning, rezoning, matters of that fact. People that you consider to be reputable individuals, highly capable, and able to follow the rule of law, able to follow what it is that governs the county when it comes to things of this nature. We're here today because they did just that. They looked at the ordinances. They looked at Makita's presentation. They looked at everything. They've seen the maps. They did what you asked them to do and what the law, what the ordinances asked them to do. They looked at the information. Let's be clear. This isn't about zoning rules. I mean, this is about zoning rules. It's not about us being anti-development. The citizens that I represent, we don't have a problem with development. But again, as Attorney Jernigan mentioned, you're very abreast of what your responsibilities are. Your responsibilities, as well as planning and zoning, is not simply to foster development, because that would mean that you're one-sided. That would mean that you're not fair, you're not balanced, and I wouldn't dare say that about you guys. Your responsibility is to create balance within the county. Planning and Zoning Commission understood that. Planning and Zoning Commission looked at what the rules were, looked at what was presented before them. They looked at what they had to go on to create balance. Part of what the ordinances state, it says that the planning and zoning not only has, when it comes to rezoning, it also has to look at preservation when it pertains to residential life. So to simply say to us that something is going to change and we should be okay with that, it is a part of planning and zoning's responsibility to make sure that our way of life is preserved. I want that for us. I want that for you. You deserve that. You should require that, as should we. I'm not trying to stop anybody from making money, but what I am trying to stop is this: our quality of life being impacted in such a way that for years to come, we're still paying the price. I'm not trying to stop 120,000 residents of Madison County from benefiting, but what I am saying is this: we cannot carry the burden of something that is continuing to happen and to move in a way that where it won't be necessarily beneficial for us. Again, we're not opposed to economic development, but we're asking this, that the same rules for zoning apply to everyone. That's what the comprehensive plan states. It's not just about because of a connection, or I understand that Makita is a county agency, but it does not give it the ability to move beyond what the rules state. If it was any other entity coming before you and it wasn't associated with Madison County and the planning and zoning made this ruling, would we be here today? If it was any other entity that came before you and it didn't have MCEDA ascribed to it, would we be here today? These are questions that you have to ask yourself, because it's about the ruling. It's about what the capable people that you've asked to look at the ordinances, to adhere to the law, and to make a ruling based on that. That's exactly what they did. And the reason we're here is this: they did what they were supposed to, and unfortunately, Makita didn't like it. And I understand that. But the reality is this: you have an obligation to adhere to what the ordinances, the rules, the law says, not based upon, and again, the rules, the book, the comprehensive plan, everything that you have been given, that you have studied, that you've been serving as a supervisor has said to you is this: you're supposed to look at each case on the merit of itself. We're not, this doesn't concern AWS. This is not about AWS. This is not about the mega site. What happened then happened then. Now, as it pertains to the Utah project that came on November the 3rd, if I could speak for those individuals, and maybe they'll speak, but I'm going to leave time for my other person to come. But I will say this: the reason there was no objection, because when we walked out of the meeting on the 3rd, they were not aware that that was going to come before it. So some of those same individuals who were here that day, they walked out with us on the 3rd, unaware that that was going to come before you. That's why they were not here. This is not this. So again, we can't just, if we're only going to use economics as the driving force, then we can just forget everybody and just say, let's do what money's going to do for us. Is that your rule? Is that what's going to govern you? Money? Is just the fact that it can bring economic growth to the county? Is that what it's all about? Because if that's the case, then every citizen, every resident in Madison County should be a little bit concerned at the moment. So I say to you that this appeal really should be denied, because in essence it has no merit. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Manning. Someone else would like to speak? If you would just please state your name and give your address, please, ma'am, for the record.
Certainly. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Nancy Payton. I'm a spokesperson for the residents in opposition to Makita's application to rezone, reclassify, and variance. I am a resident of District 4. I live at 122 Brown Drive, Kent, Mississippi. I stand before you today so that 10 to 20 years from now, I won't have to come back before you because my body is rippled by disease and sickness because of the pollutants that are a result of industrial zoning, placed adjacent to residential areas, which is known as incompatible land use. I say to you, gentlemen, that you've been given a charge, and by your own confessions, you have a duty to the citizens of Madison County to be good stewards and to serve faithfully and diligently, so throughout your tenure, and when your tenure is over, you will hear those you serve say, "Thank you, good and faithful servant." Thank you for allowing me to come before you today. I sit there and I listen to Mr. Jernigan speak on what we have proposed. And the thing about giving somebody the floor, cherry picking is a good thing. You pick the best, you leave the rest. Yes, we said that Madison County has grown tremendously, and it has. But sustainable development has not grown with Madison County. I listened to Mr. Steen say in a board meeting not long ago, in a public meeting, that there needed to be improvements in the infrastructure. And that's true of Madison County as a whole. The development has outpaced the infrastructure and keeping up with that. Following the January 8, 2026 meeting before Planning and Zoning, where they did rule unanimously and denied Makita's petition, the Madison County Economic Development requested an appeal. However, they have not met the guidelines necessary to perfect that appeal. What is needed for an appeal to be effected is dating, is timing. If you look at Mr. Jernigan's petition for an appeal, it's dated January the 9th, 2025. He's out of date. We're no longer in 2025, so he's off by a long way. The law also states that that petition must state the grounds. They offer no grounds as to why they felt this needed to be reheard, other than the fact that they wanted it to be reheard. They're not in compliance, and what you have received, Jeanette, if you will, give Mr. Jernigan here a copy of the motion to dismiss. We're asking that this board dismiss this petition by Makita because they have not met the compliance necessary to have this hearing. This board does not have subject matter jurisdiction because they did not meet the timeline for January the 8th or 9th, 2025. They also did not submit the grounds for it. So we're asking that you outright deny it. You don't have the subject matter jurisdiction, as I said, to hear this because they did not do what the laws of Madison County required. I don't know if we need to proceed further, what this board is going to decide to do, but if you do what's right, there's no need for us to proceed further. So what do you say? You're looking at the evidence because I presented it. Mr. Jernigan said we haven't presented it. Mr. Jernigan, I'm sorry that we didn't provide you with a binder.
Hey, ma'am, just talk
Turn
with
to
us.
you, that's right.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Jernigan, I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
that we did not provide you with a binder, but we have researched and we have looked at everything that needs to be done to prove our point.
I would, at this stage, I would ask Scott Weeks or Andy Clark to come up and address that question at this point, if you would.
You want me to
Ms. Clark, yeah, just step aside, right there, be fine, thank you. As far as the appeal, was the process
Yes, sir.
proper and correct?
I don't know what the date of the letter is. It says what it says. Scott could probably speak to when that was received. Yeah, it does say 2025. But some of the other things that she was mentioning as far as the grounds for the appeal and subject matter jurisdiction and all that, those are true of appeals to circuit court. The only thing that's required under the ordinance is just a notice of appeal to Scott, asking for you guys to set a public hearing, which is what you've done. So it's the term of art is de novo. It's a de novo hearing in front of you all, as to the grounds for the petition.
Okay, and so that appeal happened then, and that's the reason we're here today.
What about the date?
Date.
What about
The date, yeah, the date on the letter does say January the 9th of 2025. Scott can speak to when he actually received it. I don't know.
I think the date on the letter speaks for itself, though.
That past time of
I received it on
Approved.
January ninth,
the appeal.
twenty twenty-six.
But then-
January the 9th
Yes,
of 2026?
yes.
What does that mean to this public hearing?
I mean, I think it does appear that it's a typo on the letter, but Scott's just told you that he received it via email on January the 9th of 26.
Okay, what does that mean as far as this board hearing this motion? Anything?
No, sir, I don't think so. He received the actual email on January the 9th of 2026, so he received the notice of appeal.
Okay, so this is a proper
My opinion, it would be.
notice and
Yes, sir.
a proper hearing then.
I'm comfortable in that opinion, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark, thank you,
I'm
Mr.
not
Weeks.
comfortable with that, though. The
That
date-
is-
The date
hold-
is
That
an
is
issue.
incorrect.
All right, hold on one second.
Okay.
Supervisor Banks?
I think the date is an issue. I think that you gotta cross every T and dot every I. They sent in the wrong date. That's, yeah, I think that's an issue.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Banks. We did hear from our planning and zoning attorney and our administration, planning and zoning director, so we will move forward with this public hearing.
You know, the only thing is, you know, because Makita is an arm of the Board of Supervisors, we have to make sure that everything that we do, is exactly correct. Not, to look like we are sitting here in a rubber stamp, the Makita's process, when, you know, 5 members, of the planning and zoning board that we appointed voted it down. So we gotta keep that in mind.
You're correct, but we also heard the planning and zoning attorney as well, and he is our planning and zoning attorney, but go ahead.
Let me ask.
Supervisor
before
Green.
you- Let me ask Scott a question. On other entity, Scott, of getting notice to appeal, how do you usually get those notices? Are they an email, they a letter, or they phone call, or what?
I receive them via email typically, or they're hand delivered.
Or they hand delivered?
Have you ever had to correct the date in which they put on their request?
In the actual body of the letter, they stated, I'm gonna read this one, because it's a little easier. Dear Scott, on behalf of Makita and pursuant to section 813.02 of the Madison County zoning ordinance, please consider this correspondence as Makita's appeal to the Madison County Planning and Zoning Commission's January 8, 2026 denial of Makita's amended application for rezone.
Okay,
So it specifies the date.
yeah, so it answers the questions that we have then, as far as public hearing. So, okay,
I would still wholeheartedly disagree with you all, because when you file an appeal is filed because somebody did something wrong. And new facts are not introduced. However, I know that you all are bored here and that you want to hear all the facts, but we're saying that you can file an appeal, you can put a date on it that's wrong. If you did that anywhere else, it would nullify it. And that is the way the law works. You don't get to cherry pick who, this letter is void. This letter doesn't state a reason why the appeal has gone forth. Can you tell me why? The
No.
reason for it, just yes or no, that'll be fine.
yeah, I know they have the right to appeal.
I know that, but they
Anyone
have
has
a
the
right
right to
to appeal it correctly, guided by the laws of the state of Mississippi and the ordinance and the comprehensive plan of Madison County. They have not done that. Now, I understand,
Ma'am, here's where we're headed with
Okay.
this. According to our planning and zoning attorney, Mr. Andy Clark, he said the public hearing was valid. And so we're moving forward with the public hearing.
okay, well, at this time, we'll present you with the denial, and we ask that it be recorded and, in the minutes and filed, disagreeing with your decision, to do that. In our last meeting, we came before this board.
Thank you, ma'am.
And, I think it was, Mr. Banks that asked what's included in a heavy industrial district. You heard Mr. Jernigan say everything that's not in a residential district. Everything that's not in a residential district. The incompatible use chart that you have, what they're doing is, it's against everything that Madison County has stated in writing. You don't put a industrial zone right next to a residential area. By the same token, they keep asking about the other things that were on the other side of Old Jackson Road. I wasn't even aware that there was anything going on the other side of Old Jackson Road. But please know that when that comes up again, we'll be right back here. The question about what's included, everything is included. I've given you all a printout of everything that can be included. As I said before, we don't want this to come back in years to come where we're standing before another board, maybe not you all, where we're sick because the pollutants have come over. It just doesn't work. Makita is saying that they can't afford. The law says that money is not a factor, should not be considered. If you can't afford it, don't do it. Mr. Deason has said time and time again, it's not a heavy industrial district. Mr. Deason is trying to play us for fools. He keeps saying it's a technical industrial district. But guess what I did when my children were born? I gave them all names. I called them by what I named them. If you want a heavy industrial district, that's what you ask for. If you want a technical industrial district, that's what you ask for. You don't come up here and just set the ground rules where you're free to run wild like deer. You ask for what you want. I call my children by their names. I call a spade a spade. And we have a spade in our mix, and he's not a good neighbor. So I know we're limited in what we can do today because we did submit a letter to you asking for the time, that time be permitted so that we could present a full argument of what's going on here. Nobody should be allowed to cherry pick what's going on here today. As far as the rules for reclassification and rezoning, the criteria, they have not met the criteria. He's talking about Nissan. Nissan, you practically can't even see Nissan from where we are. Those areas are far enough away from us. Nissan does not have any residential areas around it. There is so much fire going on now about the Amazon project and what's going on over there and how it's affecting people. That needs to be re-examined. Understandably, Madison County wants to be the do-all, but not at the cost of our lives and our health. Are we used to rural area living? Yes. Are we willing to change? Yes, but not at any price. So we've limited, there are other things that need to be discussed. Oh, and please let me get to this one. I addressed Mr. Deason in an email about Madison County being the hub of industrial racism. Madison County is growing vastly, but if 80 to 100% of the industrial zoning is being done around Canton. Poor black people. That's not fair. I go to Madison, they're the best restaurants, they're the best shopping centers. I go up here, I'm eating hamburger and fried chicken. That is not fair to us. If you're gonna bring something here, bring something that's worthy of us. Bring something that's worthy. Stop bringing these things that in years to come, we'll be back before a board begging for our lives. He talked about on the other side of Old Jackson Road, if you put something on this side of Old Jackson Road is the divider. If you put something on the east side of Old Jackson Road, and then you put something on the west side of Old Jackson Road, then you put something on Nissan Parkway, and then you go to Hill Road. WLBT? If you do all that, we're totally surrounded. You have encroached up on a residential area with all of this disease. There are no limits unless you place limits on what Makita can do. And by denying this petition, we will be encroached upon, locked in by total industry. It's not fair. And we ask that you deny this petition by Makita. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Look, we've been given, this denial of motion to dismiss lack of grounds for appeal subject matter, jurisdiction. And this was, we were requested to add this to our minutes. I'd like to make a motion that we put this letter, from Mr. Manning and the rest of the objectives into our minutes. That's my motion.
Now, motion by Supervisor Banks, do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Baxter. Now, there's two letters. Are you
We-
looking at both of them?
We also ask that that be added to the minutes as well as the petition that you received earlier, which is approximately 80% of the people living in that area have signed, saying that they don't want that, so I'd ask that that be added to the
Add
minutes as well.
petition to it.
Okay, that's,
So we're adding the motion to dismiss, the denial of motion to dismiss.
no, it's not a motion to
No,
dismiss.
there's two, we got two.
Well,
It
it is a denial of motion,
Which one do you want in
to
the
dismiss on
minutes?
the background. I want this letter into
Okay.
the minute. And the petition. And then we should get the petition from all the residents into the minutes.
So there should be 3 items.
This one?
You got another one?
Yes, it's the original motion, then it's the denial.
You have another one, Supervisor
Yes.
Banks?
Okay. I think this one's,
So the
Do you
motion
have-
was just to enter stuff in the minutes, correct?
yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
But I want to make sure it's the right one.
The handout sheet
Mr.
they
Lott.
gave, I want those in the minutes. You got it.
Have these two? No, I got it. You want to have those two?
Yes, all three of them, okay.
Mr. Lott?
Thank you.
These are three.
Yes, I have 2 of them.
So we're
These
also
are the three
adding
that they
one
talked
that starts motion.
Yeah.
We've got one that starts denial of motion, and then the petition.
In the petition, yeah, we wanna
Okay.
add all
We have a
those.
motion and we have a second.
Mr. Stingmate, please support. Makita has no objection to whatever they want documents.
We're going to come back to that on both sides, but,
That's fine.
yeah, we're going to come back to that, but she just started ahead of time, but we're going to put this in the minutes. We have a motion, we have a second. I think Supervisor Griffin.
Those back.
Oh, Supervisor Baxter, you're right. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay? Thank you, ma'am.
We have one more spokesperson.
Okay, guys, y'all about used up your 15, 20 minutes, but you can come up and just say something real quick if you like. She did? Okay.
I got a question for Joey,
Okay.
2 parts. Number one, how many data centers are they building in the Canton area? Data
Data
centers.
centers.
The total number? If you fly over Canton, coming into the Jackson Airport, you can count 5 that are vertical right now, but you can also see an additional 7 that are going vertical as we speak.
And what kind of
So it's a total of 12 right now.
what kind of tax revenue is it generating for the school district? And
Upon completion, the city of Canton is expected to receive approximately $40 to $50 million per year.
okay, and what's their current budget?
Their current budget is approximately 35 million, so this will double
Okay,
it.
now going back to her statement that Makita was only building in low-income areas, tell us how many data centers they're building in Ridgeland and what is accompanying the data centers in Ridgeland?
Well, if you look on the southern end of the county, which is County Line Road, which you have Hines to the south, Madison to the north, there's approximately 5 buildings that are going vertical right now, but you can also see that there's a power plant. And those projects are located next to adjacent neighborhoods, which includes Bridgewater as well.
Okay, tell me exactly, when I present this to the public, sometimes I get questions that their power bill is gonna increase. Tell us about the power plant.
That is not true.
And-
Any increases that are related to water, sewer, power, gas are all unrelated to the
Is
AWS
this gonna
project.
be a more efficient power plant than the current power plants that are online?
Yes, I mean, obviously, I'm not an energy subject matter, but at the end of the day, there were coal plants that are being decommissioned, and this will be a natural gas plant that'll take its
And
place.
who paid for the power plant?
Not the ratepayers.
So we're building these things all over the county.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna get back on the rezone. No, ma'am. We're gonna get back on the rezoning at this point. And I would like to, I will ask this. Anyone else would like to speak in opposition to this? And if you do, please just come up and state your name, give your address, and no more than 2 minutes.
I do it in one, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Come up.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia Allen, 1891 West P Street, Canton, Mississippi. I am the happy alderman of Ward 4, which parallels Old Jackson Road of Canton, Mississippi. The last time I was here, we had a discussion, I think, about the same thing. It's both sides have presented their cases, so I'm not going to reiterate that. I would like to state that the funds that are being projected, Mr. Baxter, are for the city of the, not for the whole city, it's just for the school district, and we're not inherently getting that initially for Amazon. Now, I don't know, because none of us have really lived in an area where we have a lot of data centers that are flourishing. But from the people that you want to know about, you can look at what happened to the people in Lorain, Ohio. You can look at what's going on outside of Memphis to find out that these centers are not necessarily the best thing for the community. Secondly, for a company, particularly one that's paralleling my address, I see it every morning, I hear it all through the day. If you're making $15 million a minute, $45 million over the course of 5 years is minuscule in terms of funds. We are asking for this board to do their due diligence in making certain that the people who have been paying the taxes before all of this industrial stuff happened, that they are considered at the highest level, because without the people, you would not be able to sustain anything that happened in Madison County. I yield my time.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Please step up.
Good morning. My name is Rochelle Thompson. I reside at 323A Hawkins Thompson Lane, Canton, Mississippi. And I just want to rebuttal Mr. Deason's comments and make sure we see this thing clearly. Because Mr. Deason, I think Supervisor Baxter just said we're building these things all over Madison County. No, we're building them in 2 spots. So that's not all over Madison County. And then Mr. Deason mentioned Bridgewater, but there are, where they're building off of County Line Road is way from Bridgewater. Also, too, my sister lived in Winfield. She is not being affected by what's going on at the AWS sites that they're building, and Pinehurst is there too. Yeah, it is a lot of, it's a lot of houses, nice subdivisions around that area. But let's see the picture clearly now. They're not across the street like it will be off of Old Jackson Road. They are miles away from where they're building up there. So let's see the picture clearly. Now, also, too, that is very close to Jackson, Hinds County. Now, the people on the other side of the road from where they're building are African-American people. So let's see just want to make sure that we see that picture clearly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Joe Hardy. My father owns 200 acres, 207 acres at the corner of Old Yazoo City in Valia, and my aunt owns 157, Rita Graham. And ours has been rezoned, ready to go. It's for sale. And these people are concerned about the pollution and such around that'll be going on when they build there. I assure you that our property is across the street from the ready mix plant, and all the traffic, there's a road comes out right at El Yazoo City Road from the Amazon property, from the mega site property. I assure you there is plenty of dust. When it rains, the road is just muddy and slick, and not to mention the cement dust from the plant. They're working all times of night out there, way past midnight. Sometimes it sounds like they got jackhammers in some of the concrete trunks just beating on it. So the spotlights and such are coming through our windows, my father's house and my aunt's house. So there's definitely, they have a valid concern as far as pollution and such as that. Not only noise and light and everything else. So I just want to thank you for allowing me.
Mr. Hart, Mr. Hart, what's your property zone?
Sir, it's industrial.
How many acres?
My father's got 207, my aunt's got 157.
Y'all just got that, rezoned 300 some odd acres.
Something last year, last year, I think it was early 25. It's been, I don't know, over a year and a half, something like that.
Is it for sale?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hyde.
Anyone else like to speak in favor or opposed to this? Please come up to the mic at this point.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Diane McMurtry. I live at 965 Old Jackson Road. I oppose. I have lived there for over 51 years. I live right across the street from all of this. So, I mean, I'm not the only one. There's plenty of people here in my neighborhood. Y'all just stand, that been there at least 50 years or more. I mean, we have no objection to growth. Just leave us alone. We've been there, no problem. You want to build somewhere else, but just leave this little country town part alone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? At this point, I'd like to offer 5 minutes to each side as far as a rebuttal or the closing argument. Ms. Jernigan?
It pleased the board a couple of things. One, the notice of appeal specifically describes what the appeal is about. They set forth that there are no reasons for the appeal, basis for the appeal. If you look at the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission, they didn't give any reasons. They just voted 5-0. No reasons, no basis for their decision, 0. So there's nothing to recite as far as what the Planning and Zoning Commission did. Once again, folks, we have a lot of emotion about this, and that's understandable. But that's not the legal requirement for rezoning. We have met the legal requirements for a rezoning of this property, and we would respectfully ask the board to do that. Mr. Hardy's property, for example, Mr. Banks, has been for sale, and it's about 2 or 3 times as expensive as the Jubilee property, plus it's got all kinds of wetlands that make it basically unusable, and it has no utilities like this piece of property does. So there's a lot of things that distinguish Mr. Hardy's property from the subject property that we would like to get rezoned. We've met the process, we've met the legal requirements. We ask that the board set aside these emotional arguments, a lot of which will, as I previously stated, gentlemen, will be dealt with when and if anything is ever built on this property, but pursuant to the building permit process of this county. These folks will have another opportunity if they so object to whatever a project might be that would go on this property at that point in time. But the function of this board is to it's a de novo hearing, regardless of what the Planning and Zoning Commission did. It's your decision, brand new. That means we've met the legal requirements of rezoning of this property, and we would respectfully request that that's what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. Mr. Manning?
I'll leave you with this statement. Economic development should enhance, not divide communities. Good economic development works with communities, not against them. Rushing an appeal, overriding a denial, ignoring neighborhood concerns creates long-term conflict instead of sustainable growth. If you want to grow the county, grow it whole. If you want to grow the county, grow it together. We cannot create an imbalance. And I want to address this real quickly. We cannot allow what I consider industrial terraforming to continue to happen in this county, where you create something to say that there is a need for something. That's not what this board is about. It's about balance again. It's about understanding how things work together. Because I will warn you of this. If the county continues to load everything on one end, eventually it will tip over. And it's your responsibility to make sure, to ensure that doesn't happen, even for the sake of money.
And I'd like to finish that off with saying that Makita has not met the criteria for rezoning. There are three criteria. There must be a mistake in the original zoning that does not apply. The rezoning must adhere to the current character of the area. It does not. They've mentioned some places. Those places are not in proximity to where we are, where it would affect us detrimentally. And the third thing is there must be a public need. There is no public need. There is a need for finance, and that's about as far as that goes. But at what cost? Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, the last call, anyone else would like to speak? Either way, for or against. If not, I would like at this point to maybe ask Mr. Weeks or Mr. Clark to come up, because I have just a couple questions that that I wanted to ask. On the Utah property that was rezoned by this board not long ago, according to this, not long ago, was it properly advertised and signs up?
Yes, sir.
It was?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I need to know there, because it was, I'm not saying there was any indication it wasn't, but I just want to make sure that it was properly advertised through our ordinance
Yes, sir.
that we have. Any questions before we close the public hearing for anyone? If not, if yes, just come up to just real quick. We'll do our best to answer. State your name, please, and address.
My name is Jeanette Whittington, and I live at 1064 Old Jackson Road. So my question pertains to what you just asked him about the Utah property. Now, Ms. McMurtry just stood, and she talked about the Utah property being right across from her from Old Jackson Road. The thing about that, and it's just more of a comment or a statement, and I'm asking you because you're asking, because I'm seeing where this is going. The day that we were here, and when we left, after you all sent us back to the Planning and Zoning Committee, those people were here, and she was here, and she said for you all, just go away. Just like she said, the same thing she said today. She said that the same thing she said. If you go back and pull that tape and look at what she said, when we left out of this meeting, that vote, that Utah land came up before you all. Mr. Bang said, isn't this the same thing that we just covered? And somebody said, oh, no. And then he said, Scott Weeks said, no, they were, those people are okay with it. But they thought that they were doing the same thing with us. That's what happened. So you need to go back and play the tape again. The video is there. And so that justifies what happened with the Utah, because those people were here right across the street from that Utah land. So, and does that make sense for us to be here and then not vote against that as well?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. The reason I was asking, just to ensure that it was properly done, correct, since it was brought up and mentioned. No, ma'am, we're finished with this.
I just want to say, I was there at
I understand. We're finished. I appreciate it very much so. But that's the reason that I asked about the Utah property, because it was brought up during this conversation. And I just wanted to make sure that it was advertised properly, and it is. So if nothing else, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Got a motion by Supervisor Banks. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
I'd like to make a motion to deny the request from Makita.
Got a motion on the floor by Supervisor Banks to deny the request. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second by Supervisor Griffin. Discussion.
Yes. I just want to say to a lot of the people that are coming up and opposing it, telling them we need to grow the whole county, I totally agree. District 5 is wide open for growth. Just jump right on the other side of Canton. And I would be glad to be the supervisor, entertaining, growth like District 4 is. Now, this District 4 where y'all at. I'd be glad to be entertaining, that opportunity for that growth. So, don't think that you're not right. You are right. The whole county should be growing as a whole, not filling in certain areas of the county.
Other discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? No. Okay, with that being said, I'd like to, just a couple of things. Yes, this county is changing tremendously. There's a lot of challenges that this board has to take on, and this is one of them. This is one challenge. The statement was asked and made about the south end in Ridgeland, as far as the Amazon mega site there. It is several buildings that's going up there as well. I live right close to those buildings. I live very, very close to those buildings, that site. We had some of the same questions. Our neighborhood had some of the same concerns. And we did sit down, we did work through them, and feel like that they're gonna be good. Also, if I recall, there has to be some zoning changes in that area as well for that site to happen. And I'm gonna speak for myself only. Both sides said it very well. You have to listen to your constituents, and you have to listen to what the law and the ordinance says. Both sides said it very well today. And that's part of my job, is to do both of those. And I have. And I understand what the law says, because this board has gone through this many times in this county over the last 4 years, 8 years. And the law says there has to be a change in the character, and a need. And I think both of those has been met today by Makita. So with that being said, I'm gonna make a motion for approval to I-2 on what I heard today. May not get a second, but that's my motion, and that's where I feel when every zoning comes in, I take them individually, case by case. And that's what I'm doing on this zoning as well. So that's my motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it based off, I believe with my discussions with Joey that the burden has been met, the zoning has been, the neighborhood's been changed. It's a beneficial project for the county, and I hope to continue to develop the rest of the county, not just this area, but Ridgeland, Madison, all over the county. From my understanding that not just Amazon, but data centers in whole, there's gonna be 5,000 of these things built all over the country. So a lot of communities are gonna face these same issues in either Mississippi and Madison County, jump on board, or we get passed over. To be honest, probably Mississippi's first major manufacturing plant was Nissan, and that wasn't just but 25 years ago. We've been passed over for hundreds of years, and it's time for Mississippi to get what's coming to them for our people, for our tax dollars, our schools, our roads, and so I'm completely supportive of this project.
Before we vote on that, our planning and zoning representatives voted 5-0 to deny this zoning. The only change in the neighborhood in the area of Tin Top and Old Jackson Road is we getting ready to create it now. Because it hadn't changed. You know, their way of life hadn't really changed. The people on 22, which I feel very sorry for, and I think that we need to be looking for a way to buy those houses out and create more economic development in where those houses are. You just, let that be commercial or whatever. But down on Old Jackson Road, the only thing that's changed on Old Jackson Road in my lifetime, is that it's a paved road instead of a gravel road. Most of those, quite a few of those houses are the same houses that I passed going down to my granddaddy's place down on the end, where 55 came through and cut through my granddaddy's place. So I'm very familiar with Old Jackson Road. I've been on Old Jackson Road when, like I said, when it was gravel. I've seen my granddaddy with mules and wagons taking cotton up to the gin. So, you know, it's personal to me that these people can not be impacted so much by our county. And when I came on as a supervisor years ago, Old Jackson Road was gravel then. Matter of fact, much of Tin Top area was gravel. We only had 40-some thousand people in this county, and we were trying to figure out what we need to do to develop the county, because most of the county was into cotton. You know, now a whole lot of places where I used to see cotton, we got plants. And now it's starting to sink in that we're starting to change lives. And in some cases, it's not positive, it's negative. And that's the concern. We like to keep our way of life, even if we can enjoy now going to the Walmart that wasn't there, or going to restaurants in Madison, whatever. And I think that we're just kind of looking over these people that I think made a great presentation. They were right on point, articulate, and all they asked for was to be listened to. And all they asked is say, we want to keep our life the way it is. We don't need another plant or other development coming that close to us, because the young lady that is an alderman now, yes, she's got AWS right at her front door. And it's I used to use 22 to come to my office. I don't drive on 22 now. If you do, you have to wash your car every 2 days. So, you know, we sit here and we were very happy to see AWS come in and said they're gonna spend $20 billion in Madison County. And I think it's still a good thing, but it comes with its pain, it comes with its problems. And I think that we gotta now start tempering what we do in terms of development. We gotta start looking more at the people that we're gonna displace with our developments. You know, back in 82, 84, I mean, when I started, we just wanted anything we could get. You know, we were glad to get it. Now, Madison County is on the front page, and it's got plenty of development. And now we need to start looking at where we want the development to go. The areas that are undeveloped are the areas that we need to be focusing on.
Amen.
Like District 5. That's the reason why we came up and we want to run a sewer line in District 5. So we can see some development in that area. So I'm gonna be voting no against your motion, and I have to apologize to my constituents that I wasn't good enough to be able to take care of you all and have you back. I'm sorry.
Other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay. And before we close this thing out completely, did everybody get what they needed in the minutes? We want to make sure everything is in the minutes. Okay. All right, thank you. Now we're going to move to the concerned citizens, and we're going to take up another, I don't know whether it's a dispute or what. And y'all please stay for the rest of the board meetings you like. Please stay. I will give everybody 2 or 3 minutes to kind of ease out a little.
Why don't, matter of fact, we can take that little break right then.
Y'all want a break?
Yeah.
Let's take
That coffee
a 4 or 5 minute break.
Hey, what's up? Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're just gonna take 4.
Get this here iPad that come back up.
All right, thank you, Dwayne. We're back live with our board meeting, and we're gonna back up to concerned citizens, where Mr. John Nesbitt, Mr. Martin, and Mr. Young, I'm not sure who's speaking who or what, but before you do, before you come up, Mr. Clark, do you mind coming up and just kind of giving us a 30 seconds or a minute deal what this is about? And
Sure. As you know, at your last meeting, I believe Mr. Lemoyne was here and brought to your attention that there was a road being constructed where they believed that there was not any road to be constructed, or should not be. So you guys asked me to look into it. I'm very familiar with this property. I'm very familiar with this project and the project that preceded it. This was going back to 2021. I think May, June timeline. Mr. Peter DeBuchler was looking to rezone this property for a residential development. There was some objection from the adjacent property owners, and forgive me the names of the subdivisions. I know it was maybe Gray Castle, Greystone Lake. Newcastle, I'm sorry. So they appealed the approval of the rezoning, but the day that it came to you guys for a public hearing, Mr. Nesbitt showed up and announced that there had been a resolution, part of which, or a large part of which, involved a set of covenants that were filed by Mr. DeBuchler, agreeing not to construct a road here, and that any, matter of fact, I think it said that they would block access, and that that came forward, or that residential development never happened. I'm sorry. Instead, Mr. DeBuchler sold the property to a group of individuals, I think is Atticus Properties. They came forward with, met with Scott and I first of all to see what they needed to do, and what we recommended was a amendment to the master development plan that had been approved on the property, and they notified us that they just wanted it, for their own personal use. We notified them of the previous approvals and that there was to be no access through these residential neighborhoods. they came to planning and zoning on the master plan amendment. That was brought to their attention again in the meeting, and they agreed that there would only be access from Gus Green Road and not through these residential neighborhoods. That was in July of last year. That was approved by you guys, and now here we are today that believe that they are constructing a road by all appearances to have access through these residential neighborhoods. And that's clearly not was approved either in 21 or in 2025. So that's what I've found about it and what I know about it. I believe there are representatives of the property owners, Atticus Properties, here today, as well as Mr. Nisbet and some of the members of the homeowners associations.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark.
Yes.
If you would, come up and state your name, and let's be, be brief.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But,
I know it's a
to
lot
the-
this
but
morning.
to the point.
Yes, sir. Well, my name is John Nisbet, and I reside at 162 Dover Lane. I'm also, I serve as counsel for Newcastle Homeowners Association and Graycastle Lake Homeowners Association. And Mr. Clark did an excellent job of giving a good summary, so I won't belabor the point too much. But the bottom line is the matter we're here about today arises from the application submitted to Planning and Zoning by Mr. John Heggie, and I believe it's referred to on the agenda as the Finch property. And if I may very quickly, may I approach Mr. Steen to hand out a couple documents?
You can, that'd be fine. We usually, the administrator usually does, but you was on your way up, that's okay. That's fine, not a problem.
You want to speak? Now, as Mr. Clark was describing, back in 2001, the rezoning request was submitted by Mr. Peter DeBucular. It was a company he owned called Mipito that was set to own the property and develop the property. Within the package I've handed you, the second or so handout shows you where the Heggie property is in relation to Newcastle and Graycastle Lake. It's just south. Okay, and on the copy that I've provided you, there's also a black circle that's written in that shows you exactly where the access was contemplated originally. I personally, myself, in my individual capacity, filed the appeal from Planning and Zoning on that, and we were set to come before the board to have that heard. But we were able, through hard-fought negotiations with Mr. DeBucular on behalf of the homeowners associations and all the residents, to come to an agreement, to come to a compromise, and that was in the form of this restrictive covenant. That's the first item that I've handed you. And if you'll look at the second page of this document, it states under number 1, Mipito hereby covenants and agrees for itself as its successors and assigns and all future owners' interest in Mipito property now held by Mipito as follows. And of course, A deals with the fact that the unimproved access road that was contemplated will not be used at all. And then if you look down in number C, very briefly, the second sentence or so, it states Mipito will abandon or permanently close the existing unimproved access road, and will not only that, but will remove all portions of the existing unimproved access road located on the property. And now, so we thought we had that squared away back in 2001. Since that time, the subdivisions were approached by the property owners, and Mr. Heggie specifically, in January of 2025, and we were approached with the idea of entertaining what was styled as an amended restrictive covenant, but basically what it was just a document that would undo the restrictive covenant that we spent so much time and effort and money getting into place with the compromise agreement with the prior owner of this property. Also, it's very important to note that Mr. DeBucular's idea, when we originally got this restrictive covenant in place, was that he would just put a gate there. And that was not at all acceptable to the homeowners, because we know that with a gate comes improving the road, and now there's a road, and then there'll be a gate, and eventually who knows who's going to pass through the gate. And we knew that future owners could do all types of things with the property that were not contemplated. But the homeowners were adamant that a gate would not suffice. And so during this meeting in January of 25 with Mr. Haggai and his counsel, Attorney Gardner Ritchie, we had this meeting at the law office of Mr. Walter Wilson, who was the attorney for Mr. Peter DeBucular. And we discussed the fact, because they, at that time, were also pushing the idea of putting a gate in as a compromise resolution, and we informed that this goes way back, this predates them, they had not yet closed on the property, and that a gate would not be sufficient, and we would only be satisfied with just abiding by the restrictive covenant and its terms. But this is important because it shows that prior to the purchase of the property owners were fully aware, they were well aware of the existence of this restrictive covenant prior to closing. Now, if you move forward to April 2025, and I have a agenda that I have passed out to each of you for the planning and zoning meeting. And if you'll look on the second page, actually those are the minutes, not an agenda. If you'll look at the bottom, it states that Administrator Weeks advised that as part of the approval, there was to be no access through Newcastle neighborhood, and that the applicant would only be accessing the property from Gus Green Road. So that was a condition on which the property owner's request for rezoning was granted, that there be no access. All right, if you move forward from this point, I'm sorry, that meeting occurred on July 10th, 2025. Now, it is important to note that even prior to them going forward with this, in April of 2025, after they had closed on the property, the subdivisions began to receive complaints about contractors coming down the road using the access. Dump trucks and equipment were being used on the access road, and this was something that was very alarming to the homeowners. I corresponded with Mr. Ritchie, who again is counsel for the property owners, and I advised him this was going on and that this was in violation of the restrictive covenant. And Mr. Ritchie informed me that the contractors were not supposed to be using this road. They were told they weren't supposed to use it, and that they would be told again not to use this road, this unimproved access road. That was in April of 2025. I may have misspoken earlier.
All right, let's try to get to 26.
Yes,
February
sir.
the 26th.
Yes, sir. On January 19, 2026, which was the Martin Luther King holiday, all of a sudden we received a rash of complaints about how the property owners were now improving the prior existing unimproved access road. They were building a very substantial road there, obviously with plans to use it. I provided pictures, which is the next exhibit, so that you can see the nature of the work going on. And I'd like to also call to your attention that there's a ballpark that's now been built out there on the property. So it's not just a barn dominium or a lake house. There's also a ballpark now there. And we understand that there are plans to build a basketball court of some kind. Now, these are obviously for use by kids' teams. It's not just for family use. And if you'll look at the transcript, which I've also, my law office transcribed the representations made before the Planning and Zoning Committee. I'm trying to hurry, I apologize. I have it right here. Now, the transcript states, and this is available by video, obviously, that it would be for family use. I've highlighted in yellow the comments from planning and zoning, and I've underlined Mr. Hagai's comments. So for family use, that's right, for family use. And then it says down towards the bottom, in the original master plan that Peter DeBucler brought forward, there was to be no access to Newcastle, and that still applies. And Mr. Hagai said, oh, yeah, they're still on that. And then if you will see, okay, so is that going to be the only entrance? Yes, sir, from Gus Green. So those were the conditions on which the rezoning was granted. What we're here today for is to ask that since those conditions have been violated on which the approval was granted, and since the restrictive covenant is being violated, that the board enter a stop work order until such time as a permanent barrier can be placed there. It could be a fence, but a gate is not acceptable to any of the HOAs involved. And so we would ask that they stop work out there until they can build a permanent barrier. And there was a berm there when they purchased the property that's now been removed. So there was a barrier there. Previously, it's now been removed. I have with me Mr. Tom Young, who is president of the board of Graycastle Lake, and Mr. Lemoyne Martin, who is president of the board of Newcastle. They just have some very brief comments. They will not be duplicative, and then we'll be out of your way. Thank you very much.
Okay. Y'all just step up and, if you will, just state your name and your address and tell us what the board, you'd like for the board to know, to hear.
My name's Tom Young. I live at 376 Dover Lane. I'm the president of the Graycastle Lake Homeowners Association. We represent about 60 homeowners of people who live around Graycastle Lake. I want to say this. The worst jobs I've ever had of being president of a homeowners association or president of a hunt club. Yeah. So I know what a thankless job is, and I imagine y'all's job is pretty thankless. But I want to thank y'all for the service that you provide for Madison County.
Thank you.
And I'm here with Mr. Lemoyne Martin, who's president of Newcastle, who will speak to, and try not to duplicate anything, but can I give just a little bit of history of how we got here?
Yeah, you may, but just, let's get to 2026 real quick.
Well, when Mr. DeBucler came to us, and he represented to our association that he would not use that road. Right. And he even came to our association annual meeting and said he wouldn't. And then when we heard that it was planned to do that, we had an informational meeting, called both associations together for an informational meeting. A lot of people showed up, and we got 53 petitions signed that night to give to y'all in opposition. And we had a plan to do further opposition. And so he saw the writing on the wall. We negotiated. It was a hard-fought, expensive negotiations to get this restricted deed and covenant. And so on Martin Luther King Day, when the dump trucks and the bulldozers showed up, and the county offices were closed and the law offices were closed, I started getting all sorts of calls from concerned citizens, as did Mr. Lemoyne, who started getting all sorts of calls. So there's great opposition. We had, like I said, we had that joint meeting. One by one, people stood up and opposed and opposed and opposed and opposed and opposed. So our citizens are dead opposed to that, and we feel like we have we know we have a valid deed restriction. So that's all I got to say.
All right, thank you. Mr. Martin?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Lemoyne Martin, 152 Normandy Circle, Madison, Mississippi. I represent being the president of Newcastle Homeowners Association. And I first of all like to thank all of you for addressing this once again. Mr. Baxter, Mr. Brennan, President Steen, Mr. Banks, Mr. Griffin. Before I go any further, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Banks, obviously for being our supervisor. As you know, I've called you on several occasions for issues that have gone on in our neighborhood association, and you've been very gracious in addressing those. We had some safety issues. You had me to get in touch with Mr. Bryant, the engineer, Mr. Lawrence, and he and his people are constantly working with us So we thank you for that. As a matter of fact, just like the prior group, we have representatives of our homeowners association. Would you please stand, those of you who are here? Thank you very much. You know, in my 30 years of living in this neighborhood association, gentlemen, I've learned two things. One is that the Newcastle Homeowners Association stick together. And secondly, we take care of the people who take care of us. We're working people. We're taxpayers. We're voters. And the only thing we want is what's right for our neighborhood. We want to ensure that our kids who walk the streets are safe. We want to ensure that the senior citizens are safe. We want to make sure that our streets remain safe also. And so we come to you today asking you to stop what we consider is this breach of this covenant so we can maintain the quality of life in our neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. All right, here's someone that's here to represent. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Gardner Ritchie. I reside at 375 Cedar Hill Lane in Flora. And I represent Drew and John Haggai and Wade Phillips. They're the owners of Finch Properties. The owner of the land is the subject of this discussion. I know the board has had a lot on its plate, and I'm going to try to be as brief as I can. I've provided a packet of materials that I'm going to refer to in my talk, so I'm not going to lay the foundation for each of those or discuss them in detail. But before I address why we're here, I want to tell you who my clients are because a recent email went out to Newcastle neighborhood that I think is relevant to our discussion today. They didn't bother to paint them as who they actually are. They're two brothers and a longtime friend. They're Madison County residents. They're business owners here. They own a local pharmacy. They coach youth sports here in Madison. They lead at our church here in Madison. They are not real estate developers. They are not in the business of building real estate for profit. They are not building a commercial sports venue. They bought a piece of land south of Newcastle so that their friends and families could have a place to practice sports when they wanted to, and to fish and to hunt and enjoy their land as they pleased. They're building a turf field with lights, a lake house, and a barn dominium, all on their own property for their own private use. No commercial activity, no public access. Under our zoning ordinance, you can buy land and build a field and share it with your friends and family. That's not against our zoning laws. You can build a field, you can build a basketball court. There's not a problem with that. And building something of high quality does not make it a commercial venture. But the recent email to the members described my clients as a group of developers who created a sports venue. And the implication was that the property would be used for the general public as a commercial venture. And that's simply not true. And I believe they know it's not true, but that wasn't the intent of the email. The intent of the email was to poison our neighbors against us and rally attendance at this meeting. And the email itself alludes to that. We've talked a little bit about the background, but I kind of want to discuss a few things that hadn't been talked about. So Peter DeBuchler was developing this property, or had filed to rezone it because it's going to be a maximum of 135 home subdivision. And in the opposition to the rezoning, the HOAs both cited facts that the main concern was excessive traffic. And they were right to raise this issue. They said that there would be 1,300 daily trips across Dover Lane. That volume of traffic, they argued, would overwhelm the road, endanger pedestrians, and turn a residential street into a regional cut-through. And that's a legitimate concern. To resolve it and to make sure the rezoning passed, they agreed to a restrictive covenant preventing access from Dover Lane through Newcastle in connection with the new subdivision. When the covenant was agreed to, the HOA withdrew its appeal and the rezoning was approved. But all of the discussion around the covenant was about the traffic. Every bit of it, the foundation and the reason for the covenant was about the traffic across Dover Lane, a concern that no longer exists. That subdivision was never built, and we ultimately bought the property in 2025. And that's where the story could have ended well. Before closing, we knew about the covenant. We never ignored it. We approached the HOA's representative in good faith and proposed amendments. The amendment that Mr. Nesbitt alluded to was actually proposed by Mr. DeBucler's counsel that would have totally terminated the easement. We had a different plan in mind. Our amendment would have given the HOA real protections. We would have restricted our property, even though the zoning ordinance did not require it, to only low-density uses. There would be no excessive traffic. We'd install a gate at our own expense, and there'd be no further subdivision of the property. In other words, in exchange for an express right of access, my clients were willing to guarantee that the very concerns that led to the covenant would never materialize. No dense subdivision in the neighbors' backyards, no 1,300 daily vehicle trips, a locked gate, and no cut-through, all on our own property. But without entertaining the idea, the HOA rejected any amendment outright. From what we can tell, the owners that abut our property were not fully consulted on it and never given an opportunity to weigh in. And they may have had opinions. They side with the homeowners association.
Mr. Richard, I would probably just get to the point.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to lay a little bit of a
I understand,
foundation.
but I think most of us was on the board at the time.
Yeah.
You know, that,
Yeah.
Mr. Blake
Okay.
was up here.
Okay, well, let's get to it then. This is not the best use of the board's time. This is a dispute about a restrictive covenant. This dispute belongs in Chancery Court. We would be willing to work with the owners and the homeowners associations. But I do want to bring this up because we're talking about the covenant and all just assuming that it's valid. There's a principle in the law that when circumstances change, causing restriction to lose its original purpose, it should not continue to be enforced. The public policy here is straightforward. When things change and a restriction no longer serves its original purpose, law enforcing it also serves no legitimate function. Otherwise, the law would allow one party to use the restriction not as a protection, but as leverage. The Restatement of Servitudes, which is a legal treatise, has a name for that. They call it turning the law into an instrument of extortion. And economists call this rent seeking, using legal mechanisms not to create value, but to extract it from others. And that's what's happening here. The covenant was created for one purpose, to prevent the traffic burden of a dense subdivision. That subdivision was never built. That risk is gone, and we would agree to amendments that would completely remove the risk. And all that's left is a piece of paper, and the HOA leaders are using that to extract concessions from my client rather than work with them. We ask this board to take no action on this matter. This is a private dispute over a restrictive covenant. If the HOAs believe they have a legal claim, which they have not actually alleged a violation other than a single use by a contractor that we told not to use the property, we can answer that in Chancery. But the board should not be used as an instrument to coerce private citizens who've done nothing wrong. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. Yes, sir. Hold on one second, John. Mike.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm listening like you're listening. I don't have an opinion either way, but I'm concerned about you deliberating on this. The last time we heard about the basketball court and all of that, it involved irrigation and fire suppression, all of that. So you made a decision about whether it was commercial or not commercial. Fine. This is completely different. I'm concerned that there might be some that are using this board to short circuit an issue that is more probably before a Chancery Court. And I was wondering where he was going with all that he said, but I agree with what he just said. This is something this board considered before. There's a restrictive covenant concerning whether the road should be abandoned, or the road should be used or not. The restricted covenant is recorded in the deed book of Madison County. It is what it is. It says what it says. Whether there are cars now using this road is a finding of fact. That's a finding of fact. It is or it's not. But I think that that issue is more properly before a Chancery Court. I'm concerned as your lawyer that if you decide this one way or the other, you'll be drawn into circuit court when it's not necessary that you be there. I think this is a mature issue that can be resolved by a Chancery judge quickly. If somebody's asking for you to vote to put a fence up to stop traffic, I'm wondering whether you can even do that or not. But I know a judge can do it. A judge can enjoin the users of that road from using that road quickly. I think if you make this kind of decision, especially on the fence or whatever he's asking for, that could be improper. But I'm asking, why is this not before a Chancery judge? It's a finding of fact. It's ripe. You have a covenant here. Somebody might be violating it. That's for a judge and not necessarily for you.
Okay, thank you. Jonathan, I know that you was headed up to the mic.
Jonathan Kaiser, 35 Greystone Drive, Madison. The comment was made that the concern no longer exists for the traffic issues in the neighborhood, and I want to address that and say that that is not the case. That when Jim Ingram and I came and spoke before this board previously, when this matter first came up, the issue is that Robinson Springs Road at 463, Gluckstadt Road at 463 have significant traffic congestion during the peak hours, and that if you make a connection through from Gus Green Road to Dover Lane, that will move that traffic off of Robinson Springs Road, off of Gluckstadt Road, and through this residential neighborhood. And that threat still exists. That was the primary reason for asking for the restricted covenant. It was deed restricted, and yet they're continuing to use it for access. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Just a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Yes, you may. Please come up to the mic and state your name and give your address, please.
Hey there, I'm Dee Miller. I live at 328 Dover Lane. So the road that they're talking about is a gravel road. It's already there. People are already driving down it. So that's just my concern. So our neighborhood, we have no street lights. We have no sidewalks. The neighborhood already has very narrow roads, so it's a big concern. We have families that run, walk. I just can't imagine more traffic coming in and out. I mean, it's gonna be a serious problem. In fact, we did not even know this was going on until a couple weeks ago. We look and there's stadium lights, you know, in the back of our neighborhood. I mean, it was very alarming. And, you know, it's fine if they want to do it for personal use, but I'm really concerned that more kids are going to be coming through. We're going to have tons of traffic, and it's going to be an issue.
Okay.
I got a question.
Thank you, ma'am.
For Mike.
Okay.
Supervisor Baxter.
Mike, what's the board's authority here, and are we in our realm, or do we need to kick this to a judge? What's going on here?
I went back and spoke to Scott, Andy. So, I'm not sure I can say more than I've already said. I think you have jurisdiction if it's a county road. You have jurisdiction over county roads. So if it's a county road, you have authority to manage the road for public safety. Mm-hmm. So you have the inherent authority for county roads. Mm-hmm. Now, my point is different. I guess you someone's asking for a barrier to stop ingress and egress of a county road. There's questions of safety, public need. Mm-hmm. inhibitions to private property. Those are lots of questions that are not before you today. You know, really, it's not. So even on that one, I'm asking not to vote on this. But more than that, I'm asking you to consider not voting on this because it's all about an amendment of a restrictive covenant. So as I understand the logic from this side, they were great with having a restrictive covenant that prevented the road from being used at all. In fact, it said the road would be abandoned. The road would not be used. It's in a restrictive covenant that everyone agreed to at one time, and it was registered and booked in the Madison County deed book. The numbers on the document. So you've dealt with this before. You've agreed with the restrictive covenant, which is now attempting to change that by one side, and I don't think that should be before you. That is a Chancery Court issue. They deal with property, they deal with equity, they deal with covenants, they deal with HOAs. Okay. And I know that if you approve this, or even if you disapprove this, we'll be in circuit court in 10 days.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking it's not necessary. These are capable lawyers. I think they could file something in Chancery Court.
Okay,
So-
we got it.
Did the county issue a permit for this road to be built
No.
on this property?
Mr. Clark, if you would, hold on one second. Mr. Clark, if you would, come up and Supervisor Brandon.
Did we,
No. No.
did we, I mean, is it something that we would normally require a permit for?
I don't, not that I'm aware of, and let me back up and just say, I think that the whole reason that, Lemoyne came in the first place and my conversations with Mr. Nisbet, previously, back in 2021 and even more recently, is because the covenant that they're talking about was a condition to the rezoning. So thereby, that covenant becomes a part of the zoning of the property. So they're here asking you guys, you know, I don't think they're asking, as Mike was saying, and I don't think it would be proper for you all to enforce the covenant. That's not your job. But you could, should you choose, take action just like any other zoning violation, because that is a part of the zoning. So that's all I would add to what Mike said. But he's correct in that you guys are not a judge, chancellor, or any of that as far as enforcement.
Carl?
Yeah. I've talked to several people, and I'm aware of the covenant. The homeowner association, you know, got the covenant, and I've told them, hell, if I had a covenant, I'd have them going to the judge because they'd be wanting me to remove my concrete barriers I put up on the road, and that's simple. And I've been saying, this is not a Board of Supervisors issue at this point. It is a issue that needs to go to Chancery Court, but they have the covenant. They know where that road stopped, and they could go ahead and block off the road. The county has no need for that road. It is not being used for county purposes or traffic of any kind dealing with the county.
No, hold on one second. No, not yet. My question here is, and I think it was asked earlier, is it a county road at this point?
No, sir. That's private property, huh?
That's it.
Okay. That's it. All right, just real quick. If you want.
I just wanted to make sure it hasn't been spoken. I mean, I'm sorry, my name's Byron Croker. I live at 422 Dover Lane. That access is my driveway. It's the only access to my home. And nobody has brought that up. The homeowner association doesn't talk about it. You know, the property owners don't talk about it. I need that access to access my property, to get to my house. And so whatever considerations are, you know, included, some, you know, compromise needs to be made so that I retain access to my property and somebody maintains that access to my house.
Yeah.
You built a home and didn't have a driveway?
it was intended to be a road to the neighborhood when I bought the house from Mr. DeBucler. It's plotted on my plot as a road to my house.
Yeah. Again, okay, we understand what you're saying.
There's a misunderstanding, if I may have a rebuttal for just a minute and a half. There's a misunderstanding going on. There's nothing sought to be done on this gentleman's property. This is a covenant that relates to the Haggai property, okay? And we've not come and asked you to force them to build a permanent barrier. We've asked you to issue a stop work order based on the work that they're doing, based on the rezoning request that was granted, which was granted based on misrepresentations to the Planning and Zoning Committee. Now, if that's going to be allowed, that's going to create quite a problem when people can come in and misrepresent. And I've got the transcript, and it says there will be no access. And it doesn't relate to the gentleman's property because it's on the other side of the Haggai property. We're talking about from the Haggai property to that gentleman's driveway. And they came to the Planning and Zoning, and it was approved by this board that there would be no access. So that's why we're here. We're asking you to stop them from continuing to build as long as they are in violation of what they represented to the Planning and Zoning Committee and to this board.
Mr. Clark, do you mind addressing that last statement from Mr.
About the
Mr.
stop work
Richard?
order?
Yeah.
It'd be my opinion that that would certainly be an order, based on what I know and what I've seen and what I've found, and my review of the history of this project. Should you so choose.
Yeah, so even though it's private property, no, it was, the deed or the decision followed the property, no road. And now it's a road from the county property to his house or their house.
Correct. They've still got a building permit. They still have to have a certificate of occupancy.
Did the agreement that this board made say it had no access from that area?
Yes, I think that's abundantly clear in the record.
Okay. Board members, hold on one second. Other discussion? Because we've heard a good bit of information at this point, Any thoughts?
Well, I'm with Mike. Mike, what do you suggest that we do? What would our motion be that says we don't do anything? It needs to go, yeah.
Take no action.
Because, it's nothing, it's not anything we can do. It's things they can do,
Yeah.
but it's not anything we can do.
Yeah, and I probably don't disagree with you, but I was just asking Mr. Clark, as far as a zoning, as far as accounting zoning, there's not anything there then? Not zoning, but, just any action.
I defer to Mike. Mike's
Yeah.
your lawyer, but
Okay.
in my opinion, yes, you could issue a stop work order based on the information that we have.
Because of the entrance of the driveway.
Correct. I do not believe that they are adhering to what was approved before the planning commission and this board.
You tell them to stop work orders, that'd be stop building homes?
Or the drive.
Or stop building drives?
The drive.
Stop work on their property,
Yeah.
be it home, barn, dominium, road,
Well, it
whatever.
stops everything. They're not building homes, they're building.
The big old, football field.
Well, if we did
And let
stop,
me speak on that too, Mr. Griffin. I do want to say, that was discussed with Scott and I, and we did tell them, and I don't have any evidence or inkling or whatsoever that they're doing anything different. They did tell us that they wanted a place for their family to use, for their own personal use. We did advise them that that's much, much, much different than a commercial operation. They agreed to that. They know that. I'm not here to argue or make any of those accusations whatsoever. I don't have any indication that they're doing anything other than what they agreed to do in that respect.
yeah, I'm just trying to get in my mind, what can we do with any agreement that was made by this board at this point, where it stops right there at his driveway, but yet.
We could allow Scott Weeks to be a witness at a trial. That's what you can do.
I got you.
All right.
That's it.
That gentleman have a question.
Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin.
Briefly, I just want to say, contrary to what has been said, we aren't trying to change anything on this. This states that not only was Mr. Buechler not to develop this, but it also said that no future owners, in other words, that means in perpetuity. This is what this is right here. And it says, the key here is permanent. They have destroyed the permanence of this. It is now open. It is open from Dover Lane to their area. Only thing we're asking is for a permanent solution to this. Now, we met with the Hay guys. We met with them, Mr. Young and I. We offered in an order that they put a permanent barrier, therefore adhering to this. They refused that. They said that they wanted a gate, something that would open and close, and our argument was that that is opening and closing Pandora's box, because once you open that, it's no more permanence. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the questions in front of us at this point, but,
Can I speak just from an owner's standpoint?
since you one of the owners, yes,
Yeah.
real quick.
I'm Drew Hayguy. I'm one of the owners, brothers with John Wade Phillips. And we met with Tom Young and Lemoyne Martin 3 weeks ago and communicated our intentions with the land, our intentions to be neighborly, good neighbors. That road is tricky because it's, like Mr. Coker said, that's their driveway, and we own it. It's kind of weird. We own their driveway. During the construction, that's where all of our utilities hook up. That's where Bear Creek comes. That's where the gas, and that road was tore up. I mean, there's trenches dug in there, so we had to be a good neighbor and replace that road. And our intentions are to have a barrier right there. I mean, we get it ordered, and it just takes time to get it. We do not want that road to be open. We have access from Gus Green Road. We built.
All right, let me ask you this, why is it open then?
Well, the utilities, I mean, that's all ongoing. All that hookup is having to take place right there.
So it's open only because of the utilities, but yet the home builders are using it?
The home builder, they're not using it. Nobody's using it. When they notified us that people were using it, we stopped. We said, well, put it into that. Told them to stop using the road. Everybody comes in Gus Green Road. That's where all of the access takes place. And also, we have no intentions. I asked them if we could address the HOA and put any concerns that they may have to rest. We're not bringing anybody through their neighborhood.
Well, apparently someone's coming.
Wait, is this a chancery issue or is this a board of supervisor issue? Well, I don't know why we're still arguing.
It's a board of supervisors issue because he represented there would only be one entrance in his request, that it be rezoned so he could build all this, and that's not the case. The road has been developed now, so it's a misrepresentation of what would occur.
I probably don't disagree with that at all with what you're saying, and that's the reason I was trying to get to the bottom, but the board, what's y'all's decision? Do I have a motion on the table, or table it, or do nothing?
I'm abstaining.
It needs to go to Chancery.
Well, somebody needs to say that, because.
Don't make a motion.
Listen, I'm trying to.
They can all do what they believe to be in their best interest.
Now, the majority of the board
And that
thinks
would
it needs to
be
go to the
the
Chancery.
homeowner
Move on to
association
the
can
next
block that
item.
road. I don't have a problem. The county's not gonna prevent them from blocking the road off. It's all gotta go to Chancery Court. It's not a county issue.
I think I hear at least the majority of the board saying it's not our responsibility. So, we will not take any action on it today. That's where we are. Thank y'all. Okay, we're gonna move on to any other concerned citizens.
No, sir. That was a good
Okay.
Yeah, shut it down.
Yeah, you wanna speak on this topic?
Not on this one.
No.
Not at all. That was way above my pay grade. Mine's, I think, is gonna be simple.
I tell you, hold on one second, let them ease out just a second. We're just gonna give everybody 2 or 3 minutes to kinda ease out. We'd like for y'all to stay for the rest of the board meeting.
Y'all need to handle y'all.
Oh, man, I haven't had a
that's mine.
All of yours. Yeah. It's been just 4 months.
All right, guys, we're gonna move on with the, guys, if y'all gonna talk, let's see he's outside.
Okay. See you later, CB. He can't hear them.
That man gonna have to do.
Actually, give him another second too, if we will. That way, we're all on the same page. Okay, Ashley, I think they're out well enough.
Just for the record, I'm Ashley Allen, work for the district attorney's office. I'm coming to get some clarification on a payroll issue that we're having. I know we came before this board, middle of last year, maybe the fall of last year, and discussed our budget request. That budget came back, and for the first quarter of 2026, I had 3 employees, and in full disclosure, one of them is myself, who are county-paid assistant district attorneys. I've been paid by the county since 2011. Mr. Todd McAlpin has been paid by the board, I believe, since 17, and Katie Moulds has been paid by the board since 2019. And we're very appreciative of that. Since 2023, this board has paid their salary as allowed by statute, as well as a $6,000 stipend that is approved by statute. That would make their yearly salary, based on their years of experience, $120,000, $240 or something, but we'll say $120,000 for easy numbers. When we came for the board this past year, we asked this board to pay some additional state employees stipends, and I believe that was declined based on correspondence by the county administrator. However, there was no indication that those 3 salaries would change. And in fact, they did not change. In October, in November, and December, which I believe is the first quarter of this fiscal year, their salaries did not change. They were still paid their base salary of $114 plus a $6,000 stipend. And granted, our office gets no written documentation as far as line items on what that's gonna be. So I'm assuming, based on their pay stubs, and my own pay stubs, that would remain the same. In January, a statutory increase went up for all ADAs across the state. And this board graciously agreed that they would pay that. And again, I was given no indication that there would be any other change. Well, because of the way the pay cycle works, it took a minute to figure out that pay was not where it should have been, based on their statutory base salary plus the $6,000 stipend. Are y'all following me? I'm throwing a bunch of numbers out, but I'm trying to be concise, because y'all had a long morning.
Let me ask a question, then I know if I'm following you or not. There's 3 employees that were paid by the county.
Yes, sir.
All the way up until this budget year, we stopped paying them.
You're still paying their base salary, but the stipend all of a sudden went away with no notice.
Okay.
That we were paying prior.
You have been paying since 2023 out of the general fund. And so I contacted Greg, and he said, and I said, look, I'm not trying to fight anybody. If the board doesn't want to pay this stipend, my boss will pay it. Fine. However, and if that's how y'all intended it to be, that's fine. I'm just trying to get my employees their salary that they are now missing, because they've now missed 5 pay periods with this stipend. I think it's 5, but maybe 4. Greg has indicated that mine was messed up in error and that we could back pay me. Great. But that Mr. McAlpin and Ms. Moulds were not missed in error. So I'm just trying to figure out what my office is responsible for and what this board's intention was when you passed the DA's budget back last year, because we were relying on the first quarter as to how the other 3 quarters were went.
Okay, I think we understand it. Greg, what's
All right.
I mean, how did we get here with what we just understand?
All right, here is what has happened. As Ms. Allen alluded to, there was a statutory increase for ADAs effective 1/1 of '26. The reason why the statute or the salaries didn't change prior to that is there was no statutory change. What this board passed on October 6th of 2025 said, the ADAs of the 20th Circuit District Court will be paid the allowable amount under House Bill 1609. Then went so far as to give an example that would said if an ADA has X years of service, I think it's 15, and the salary gives a maximum of 135, that's what the board is paying. For reference, as Ms. Allen alluded to, the board already took a $7,000 hit this year on ADAs, and the issue is there was no error on the board's part as far as not paying McAlpin and Moles. Ms. Allen was previously paid by the DA, so stopping that was an error on our end. I called the office of the state auditor this morning. As soon as I saw Mr. Bramlett walk in, explain the fact pattern to them, and they told me we could not pay retroactively as it would be violative of Section 96 of the state constitution. So I don't know of a way to go back and do it anyway.
All right, and I want to follow up with Supervisor Griffin's statement or understanding. Are we still paying everything we've been paying since '23?
We are paying them $7,000 more.
More?
Yes.
Okay, and that's where I'm not understanding this.
What you
were
said,
saying.
But right, you are paying an increase in our salaries because the base salary went up. But the stipend is a different, so you have a base salary and you have a stipend, both are allowed by statute. So I was never given notice that the stipend was going to go away, so all of a sudden, right, but these two employees, their salary, they were expecting it to go up by the amount allowed by law, and effectively it was cut in half because the stipend was taken away.
All right.
And so I'm just trying to get clarification on how that happened, and I was given nothing in writing and notice, or if it was an error, or how do we go past it?
So Greg, you're saying going forward, we can pay the stipend, we just can't.
Already
retro.
have agreed to do it today via the consent agenda.
How much is the retro payment?
It's a couple $100 a paycheck, but the state auditor's office will take issue with it. Can't go retroactive. It's against law.
If we can move forward, how much is it?
$6,000 annually was what the DA approved, or what y'all approved on the
So why
basis.
don't we just start moving forward with it?
That was the idea. Yes, sir. That's what we intended to do today.
Does that, and granted, that's great, but does that mean you're going to divide the $6,000 that they were to get over a 26 pay period schedule and divide it by the remaining pay periods for this year? Or are they just going to be out that money for this year?
Greg?
Well, you were probably going to say the same thing. It can only be applied going forward.
Going forward.
That there is no
Yeah,
way.
but I think she's asking a different question.
Well,
though,
the
'cause
maximum allowable for the supplement is $6,000. It has got to be applied annually. I can't apply $6,000 over 23 checks. That doesn't work.
So you're saying
So it's gonna be prorated.
I'm saying it's going forward and it's prorated. Yeah, prospective prorated. Because that's all the law allows.
So they just lose that, few hundred.
I very much wish that were not the case, but
Ashley,
it is.
Do you have another question on this? Or?
I guess, so you're saying the reason that I can get my back pay is because it was an error, but it was never, and I guess that's what I'm asking this board, was it your intention to pull their stipend beginning January 1st, 2026? Is that in a minute somewhere?
It was in the personnel items adopted by this board October 6th of 2025. The error with Ms. Allen was the DA was previously paying it and we stopped it. We don't have any authority to stop any payments from the DA. So there was clearly an error here. There was no error on the other two, and believe me, I wish there were. I'm all for paying people. I'm just not for going to jail for doing it.
All right. Again, do I have a motion to start the payment?
The pay
It's already
going
been
forward.
approved. Y'all have already approved the payment going forward on consent today.
It was on consent.
The email I sent was that we were willing to pay it out of our pocket, but this board has always paid it. So if this was not is it this board's intention that it is a part of the general fund as it always has been since 2023, or is it your intention that you are no longer paying stipends for Katie Moles and Todd McAlpin, and that my office will need to start reimbursing that at this point?
It was the intention, as I understood it, of this board when we adopted the items back in October, that we would pay what the statute says pay. That is the easiest way to do this. Statute says pay 135 or 127. That's what they get paid. Supplements are the DA's problem. That's the easiest, cleanest way to do this.
And is that what's on we
Yes.
approved the consent agenda?
Correct. And I don't have the number. It was 26.
26 is the number. And so I think is that what you're asking? Are we gonna pay?
I'm
The
just, because
supplemental.
for the past 3 years, this board has graciously paid what is set by statute, which is the statutory salary plus the $6,000 stipend. Those are both in statute. So when he says we're going to pay what's set by statute, I'm confused as to what he's referring to.
The personnel items specifically mentioned House Bill 1609. So y'all.
And
total
1609
was
says.
the one that set the maximum salary at either 127 or 135. Y'all did exactly what you said you were going to do.
But that proposal included the $6,000 stipend. We provided you that in writing that said, in continuing to pay the statutory salary plus the $6,000 stipend. And I'm just trying to get.
All right, hold on. Does it include that or not, the 6,000?
The 6,000 was not included. We took them to the maximum allowable under House Bill 1609.
Okay.
Statute says paying 127, supplements are the DA's issue. That's the approach that I understood this board wished to take as part of the budgeting process, just for ease and clarification.
And I see on the consent agenda that where y'all are paying that for the first quarter, I guess, of the first, was it the first quarter?
You paid it the first quarter.
We did, because the statutory increase could not take effect until January 1 of this year. So we left everything the same until January 1, at which point this board took a $7,000 hit per DA. So I would very much like to pay people. I just can't find the error. I found the error with Ms. Allen. DA was paying it and stopped. That was a mistake on our end. There was no mistake on here, and the auditor's office couldn't find one.
I guess the other board members may understand this completely, but I think there's $6,000 in question. And the question here is the county paying the 6,000 or not? We're not.
Not going forward, and we're not effective January 1st. You paid $7,000 above what you were paying, but not a $6,000 supplement.
Okay, and that's what's in front of the board now.
Yes, sir.
Basically what it amounts to. What's the board thoughts? That's.
I'm okay with
I don't, the budget's there. I don't believe that there needs to be an additional action by this board, given the approval that already took place of the consent items.
On the consent agenda, yeah.
So they're gonna get the stipend with the consent item approved?
Going forward, yes, sir.
Yeah, going forward.
Just
We
can't go
gonna be
backwards.
paying it.
Chad White will throw me in jail.
And I guess I just was trying to get clarification, because if mine was an error, I was trying to figure out if Mr. McAlpin and Ms. Molds was also in error, so that they could receive that back pay that I was hoping were entitled to.
Yeah.
But apparently, I
Apparently.
just was not informed of the board's intentions, and now that I understand, that's not.
Yeah, but what I understand, that we're paying everything you're asking for now going forward.
Yeah.
No,
That's.
Yes.
You're paying their base salary, and then my office will pay for their stipend.
Yeah.
Going forward.
So we're not paying everything.
We are not picking up a supplement, no, sir.
We're not picking up the
No,
6,000.
correct. That additional 6,000 is not being picked up by this board.
And that's what you're asking.
Correct.
I'm just trying to figure out what I'm responsible for and what my employees are supposed
I
to be
got-
getting, because I'm the one they're coming to with their paychecks every time.
I
so this
did.
is-
Okay, I was understanding two different ways, but
Yes.
now I understand now which way. So, board, what's your thoughts? The question.
There's nothing to do. You got the explanation.
All right, we move forward. The way it is.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Church of God Foundation.
All right, let's move down to business items. Church of God Foundation of Life.
Y'all gonna make
Taxes
me have to
in-
take a break?
Yeah. Mr.
You
McGraw?
don't like that good county government. Yeah, John had a chance to witness good government.
I witnessed all kind of government. Thank you. I'm Don McGraw, and I'm here representing the Church of God Fountain of Life. And they are seeking a tax exemption for their church building, which is located just west of the co-op on Cameron Street and Fulton Street.
Oh, really?
Mike, you
They already built, right? They already there, right?
They're there.
They renovated it, right?
They renovated the building.
Yeah, they renovated the building. Looks good.
Mike, you look at this and
Yes.
everything's good?
Yeah, they qualify, they're eligible. And the tax lien on this land attached 2016. So certainly they could receive an exemption 2026. So,
Okay.
and they're otherwise eligible.
All right, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Done. That was a long 30 seconds. Appreciate your patience, though.
Thank y'all.
All right, Tim?
Who the pastor?
Nolan something.
First item I have is a request to advertise for construction for two bridges on North Old Canton, those being State Aid Bridge 4524 and the other one being 4525. Motion. Thank you.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Question.
All right.
Discussion, back up.
Yeah. You finna close down North Oak Canton Road?
Yes, sir. You and I have spoke about this, when we were talking about paving North Old Canton. We're
Yeah.
gonna do these two bridges right there together and then pave right behind it.
Is there, you got a detour set up?
Well, we hadn't even advertised. This is to advertise for,
Oh, man.
advertise.
Give them call phone number when they close.
Hope to do it this summer.
You probably got
In between.
about 6 weeks. You know, so.
All right.
Yeah, hope to do it like we did the ones on Yandell in between school. We're gonna advertise now, get all the bridge components started when school lets out. Hopefully be done by the time school lets back in, or as soon as we can.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
That work.
All right, if we can, I'd like to take what is, well, actually, let's go to, I'm sorry, I have one more. The final plat of Lewis Farms Phase 2.
Phase 2, do I have
Hang
a
on.
motion?
This is 81 lots on 17.23 acres that do have a letter of credit for the final wearing surface.
Now, where is that?
That is on Catlett Road, right, kind of a little south of the curve, just south of Scribbling Extension. This This is just for the wearing surface? No, this is for the final plat for the neighborhood. Okay. All right, motion.
Got a motion Supervisor Baxter.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, now I'd like to take 54 through 58, which are all permits for the force main that is part of the Makita project. It's going to eventually be owned by CMU. These are just
Second
standard.
call motion.
Hey, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Mine is 58 through 62.
Okay, yeah, I
just
may
wanted
have
to
an older
be
version.
on older copy.
Yeah,
Okay,
I just have an older copy
somebody
then.
watching at home.
But it's the first Makita through the last
If you will,
Makita.
go ahead and just name them all off, just
Okay.
for the record, that'd be the
All right, let's
best
do that.
thing.
All right, this is Cloud Road, Verlelia Road at the intersection of Mount Elam, Verlelia Road crossing, Verlelia Road right-of-way,
The Verlelia Road.
and Verlelia Road.
Make
Okay.
that motion.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks, do I have a second? I'll second it. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right. Next item I have is a request for approval of a board resolution. This is for Weisenberger Road improvements. The resolution is in support of the build alternative shown on the attachment, which you all should have as the only build concept for accomplishing the Weisenberger Road improvement project. This is the build alternative that came out of the environmental phase of the project. And this resolution supports that and allows us to move forward with the environmental process for the project.
Second the motion.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, final item I have is an engineering contract with MSEG in the amount of $202,000 for the Camden wastewater improvement project for the conceptual design phase services.
Isn't all of this, Mike, you might be able
Hold
to
on
answer.
one second. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion.
Isn't all of this fall under the umbrella of some lawsuits that we have pending that basically put a hold on us spending any money on this?
It does, but Mike. You're right, it does do that.
I can answer this. So if you look at this item, it's a contract with MSEG on the Camden wastewater project. So that project is a part of an interlocal, which is in circuit court on an appeal. That's true. And the appeal asks for a stay or an injunction to begin. That's true. But if you look at this contract, there's three things that are critical. It identifies the engineering company. It identifies their compensation. But Mr. Brandon, in answer to your question, if you look at, there's no start date. In fact, it's pretty explicit. If you go to Exhibit D, it has start, finish, and what they're gonna do. The start date is blank, and there's a word there that says pending. So it's not gonna start, really. It's pending, in my opinion. It's subject to the stay in the lawsuit.
Okay,
But
well,
that's different than
I'd like to,
this. That's different.
based on that
Two different
information,
things.
I'd like to propose a substitute motion to table this until all of those lawsuits are resolved and we can put dates to things.
Got a motion to table it, do I have a second?
I'll second it for more discussion, refresh my memory.
Second, Supervisor Baxter.
Who's
Discussion.
suing over this? Who's?
On January 5th, 2026, this board, by a vote of 3-2, I believe, approved several interlocal agreements based on the 2026 road funded plan. So an interlocal funded by the 2026 road plan included $1 million to create a reader, and the reader would begin the process of constructing a wastewater project benefiting Northeast Madison County. So that interlocal was a part of the group of 5, I believe, that was subject to the appeal lawsuits. And they all asked for a stay. So we're in court on that. The judge has not heard anything, but this is different. If you look at this doesn't mean this project is going to start as a part of approving this today. It designates the engineering company that will do it if it ever happens, and it talks about what they'll be paid, $202,000. That's what it says. But if you go to the crux of the matter, can you start today? No. If you go to Exhibit D, it's on the agenda. If you go to Exhibit D of the contract, start date, stop date, it says 2 years to do it, but there's no start date. It says pending.
Okay, help me
So
out.
that means you can't start.
Going a little bit different directions here, but just for my personal information, Amazon, we're building a new sewer plant, correct, for the Amazon data facilities? This area isn't serviced by that sewer plant?
It's serviced by CMU.
Yeah. So this is two separate.
Yes. It's got nothing to do with Amazon. This is Northeast Madison County to bring a sewer system from Canton up to District 5. That's what it is. But this contract talks about the engineering company that will do the work when the work begins. But there's no start date to this contract. And I believe that it is subject to the lawsuit. And there's a request by one side that it be stayed. That has not been heard yet by a judge. And it will be. But as far as what you're doing, you're just saying, okay, MSEG will be the engineer and they'll be paid $202,000. And it doesn't say when it's going to start because you can't.
This is for a sewer line, right?
Yeah. This is to convert sewer septic tanks to a sewer system managed by CMU, because the county doesn't manage sewer systems.
Public sewage.
Public sewage.
Yeah. The only way you can grow the whole county is to have, broadband internet and public sewage.
That's the only way.
It called basically short form infrastructure.
So this is preparatory, in essence, but there's no start date explicitly on the contract. It says pending.
Pending.
So we make it a habit to get into contracts that we may not be able to ever execute on?
Mike, let me ask you this, if you would, just go back up, because I'm hearing the discussion, and I don't think there's a doubt this is in the lawsuit.
It is.
I don't think there's a doubt about that. My question is that it has no beginning date.
Yes.
And it's pending, I understand that. A lot of the money that we was thinking about trying to put this in, talking about the line, or the treatment plant, is, grant money. If we approve this contract, can we move forward with trying to get grant money?
Or do we have to have this consensus?
So the
decided?
interlocal agreement, which is subject to the appeal
Right.
in the 2026 road plan. So I think the issue is objection to what's in the 2026 road plan. So in answer your question, if we go and try to find alternate funds from USDA or whomever, that's not a part of the funded road plan. So I believe that you can.
So you say we can?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's, to me, that's the main important part.
There's $1 million for this project in the interlocal agreement under the 2026 funded road plan.
Right.
So that's the appeal that we're talking about.
Yeah, we all understand the appeal,
Okay,
whether we
all right.
pretend like we don't or not. We all understand the appeal.
Yes.
But my question is primarily, again, this is what I'm gonna make my decision on, is whether this contract approved, can we go and move forward with finding grant money? If we can, I'm in favor of it.
The project at large is not being stopped.
Okay,
The project, features of the project to develop a RETA agreement that includes Makita, CMU, Madison County, that's the RETA. And within the interlocal agreement is $1 million to
Okay.
begin. But we still have to go to the Attorney General's office.
so the answer is
to get-
yes.
you could begin the process of seeking funding
Okay.
elsewhere, because it's not a part of that interlocal.
That's all I'm asking there,
Yes.
so. All right, we have a substitute motion on the table to deny. All in favor say aye.
I said table.
Table it.
Table until they're resolved.
Okay, table. All in favor say aye. You get the motion, Ronnie? Okay, table. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. All right, we go back to the original motion for approval. And again, I make it very clear with me is that, we're looking for grant money for this. And with this approval, we can move forward looking for grant money. So all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. All right, thank you. Tim?
All right. One final thing, there has been some comments about the lowering of the speed limit on the interstate around the Reunion Bridge.
Right.
The speed limit has been 60 miles an hour in the construction zone. Those speed limit signs have been covered, so as of right now, the reduced speed limit area down through there is now back to 70. We do reserve the right to, take those back down if construction is active in that area, as the project is still an active construction project, but right now, while we're not doing construction, that construction area has been covered.
Okay.
Tim, is all of Bozeman open back up yet?
Yes, Bozeman was opened up Friday evening about 8. So,
Tim, also, do you know when that project will be closed out?
we're still waiting on the contractor. They're
Okay.
they're still within their time, and they still have a few more things to do, so they're
Okay.
still working on it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that update.
And one item for Supervisor Griffin. At the last board meeting, you asked me about the bridges on Highway 51.
Yes.
Talked to MDOT. They have 2 shut down right now. Those should be done in the next few months. As they finish that, they're going to work on another one that is south of there. As soon as they finish that one, they're going to work on another one. So there are 4 bridges total in that area that they are working on. So that section of road is going to be closed until 2028.
2,000, who?
That's a long time. Thank you
It
for the
is.
update, though.
And I want you to say that real loud. Highway 51 belongs to who?
Highway 51 belongs to MDOT, and they are the ones shutting it down.
Mississippi Department of Transportation. Their number is 859-12-18.
Okay.
That's the local one.
All right, let's move on. Mr. Weeks? I think we got that, Mr. Griffin. That'll come up again. Weeks?
First item I have are the planning and zoning official minutes from January 8, 2026. Those went with the public hearing.
I make a
Move
motion
on the
for
minutes.
approval, second by Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor say aye. All opposed.
Next item I have, at the February 12th Planning Commission meeting, as you recall back in our last board meeting, we had to take this Urban Renewal Plan Conference Center project to the Planning Commission within 30 days. And at its regularly meeting held on February 12, 2026, and pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 433513B, and the Madison County Planning and Zoning Commission considered the proposed urban renewal plan, Exhibit B, to the attached resolution for review and recommendations as to its conformity with the general plan for development of the county as a whole. The commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the proposed urban renewal plan, and such approval will be reflected in the commission's February minutes.
Do we just need to acknowledge that?
Yes.
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks. I second. Discussion.
That's on item 62. Urban renewal.
Yes, sir.
What?
It's the urban renewal, yes, sir, it's that.
Yeah,
It's 66 on your paper,
it's 66 on mine.
Yeah.
62 on.
Okay. It's, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All I have.
I would like to back up. Supervisor Brandon noticed that the election commissioners. 55. Is actually on this is item 51, unless I didn't,
There were some last second additions.
Move to pay.
that's the reason that it's off. Okay. A little bit.
Move to pay.
Got a move to pay by Supervisor Banks. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, then we come back down to, Ms. Deshby. Attorney?
Yeah, I got something for Mike.
He got something about that.
I'd like to have it in a motion to, authorize Mike to look into the urban renewal plan that we have at, Northeast Madison County at South Spring Park. See what it takes to enlarge that.
Okay.
And work with the property owner that would like to try to get in the urban renewal plan, and we'll be getting it to you.
All right.
That'll be a motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Greg?
All right, good morning, Board. 2 things for you today. The first is a discussion of HIPAA policies and personnel appointments. Your clerk has been provided 150 pages of HIPAA policies. I am asking that this board adopt those policies.
I make a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Got a second? Do I have a second to adopt? Second, Supervisor Brandon. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
All right, now that we have policies, I need to appoint 3 personnel to fill key positions within those policies.
Are you all 3?
Nope, I'm one of them, and enough of one.
Greg, Loretta, and,
Who's the other one?
Dwayne.
Dwayne?
Because there's a huge IT component to anything HIPAA related. So what I'm asking is that this board appoint me to be the privacy officer, Dwayne to be the security officer, and Loretta to be the contact person.
Do I have a motion?
motion.
Second the motion.
Motion Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, that'll be tons of fun. Okay, that's all the HIPAA stuff. The next item is a request to engage in discussions with Massett. MASSET is the Mississippi Association of Supervisors Insurance Trust, and they have recently released a program that they call the Severe Connective Storm Deductible Buy Down. What that does is, in the event of a big storm, it takes our deductible from 1% to a maximum of $50,000.
Right.
The way the math works is if you've got buildings worth more than $5 million, this is absolutely worth exploring. And we're putting 17 million into the one over there, so we got a few that are worth more than 5. So I'm asking for y'all's authority to
Make a
talk to them.
motion for
and
approval. Do I
get
have
in
a
this
second?
Second the motion.
Second, Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
That's it for me.
Greg, that's it. The son?
Thanks, Greg. That thermostat must be broke.
My head's so cold.
It is cold. All right. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
The first item I have is number 65, which is approval of the budget amendments and the interfund cash transfer.
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks, I'll second discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
The next two is the general claims docket and one payroll docket.
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks, do I have a second? I'll second.
Second. I
Discussion.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
The next item is the approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission for their per diem for February.
Move.
Moved by Supervisor Banks, I'll second it. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the last one is the Fleet Corps claim docket.
Move.
Moved Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion.
You're not recusing?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
Gerald, you didn't want to recuse on that
Thank
one?
you.
No,
I
sir.
thought you got
Not
an ethics
everybody do
opinion that
that.
said you,
Don't
should.
need to. All right, Mr. Lott. All right,
Like this.
Mr. Tucker, do you need to say anything on?
I will. I just want to thank y'all for getting the fleet corps straightened out. We've got those out-of-town extraditions and what have you, and I appreciate you going to the length of getting that opinion. While I appreciate the questions, that affects government services, and we need that fuel, so I appreciate what you did.
Thank you.
Mr. Lott,
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
anything?
No, sir.
No, no.
Mr. Tucker, anything else, Mr. Tucker? Sheriff?
No, sir.
All right, old business?
No.
New business?
No.
I do have one.
Tyler. All right,
New
we got
business.
some new business.
All right, listen.
I would like to thank the director of Field and Brown for putting that ADA button down there. It makes it better for me and everybody else that's in my show.
That door done beat you up many mornings.
That's good.
I would like,
Thank you.
I do have one new business that I didn't put on here and I should have.
Okay.
To, reappoint Neil Riley to the Citizen Service Committee. Got a motion, got a second, Supervisor Griffin, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Do I have a motion to adjourn to March the 2nd?
I'll
9
make that
a.m.?
motion.
Motion Supervisor Baxter, second Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
All right.
March the 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.